much of what you have heard about meditation and read about meditation, much of what people proclaim about meditation comes into play. The quieting of the mind, the stillness of the mind, and so on and so forth. Because the mind is not objective. The mind is filled with all these subjective conditioning agents that are constantly interpreting and misinterpreting and reinterpreting and misappropriating, and on and on and on it goes. To be able to have a pure, unadulterated, unconditioned connection, as though we are the tip of a root. And if you follow that little root, it eventually joins up to a bigger root. And that bigger root eventually joins up to the trunk of the tree. And that tree extends into the heavens, where it has direct access to the sun, the light, the truth. And we, as part of that tree, even though we're down in the ground, we're down in hell, under the ground, in the darkness, we are in need of that light. The light of truth, we only have one way to access it, and that is going back up the root to the tree, which is above the ground and its branches high in the heavens, where its leaves gather the sunlight. But that root can't go around to the top of the tree. That root can only go within and recognize it is one little tributary, if you will, a little capillary of this massive network, this massive system of branches and leaves and roots and root tips and capillaries. We are such a capillary. We are such a root tip. Meditation is the way that we increase the bandwidth to the rest of that network, to the rest of the tree. It is the way that we can receive the precious nutrients that are formed through photosynthesis in the boughs and the branches and the leaves high above in the heavens. But we are underground. We are in hell. Never forget that. So our connection to the heavens must be through ourself, must be through our true nature, which is connected to this tree. And so to go within is to shut out everything out there and spend time interfacing, communing, engaging, speaking to, and listening to, receiving from the great tree, which is, of course, the tree of life. It's not by accident that we picked that metaphor, that analogy, because within all of us is the tree of life, and our mental body, emotional body, vital body, and physical body represent the four bodies of sin. And our consciousness is bottled up in Klipoth, in the subconscious mind, where all the egos dwell, where all the demons come up and they infect our emotional body, mental body, vital body, and motor instinctive sexual centers of our physical body. And they drag us down. So by going within, we can gain that direct connection to the source from whence we came, because we are part of this tree, this great tree of life. And we have an individual tree of life in microcosm, but of course we are connected to the great cosmic tree in macrocosm. And there are levels and levels and levels to this. You may hear people often using this terminology, the holographic fractal nature of the universe. And the reason why they use those words and that terminology is because in the realms of physical science and mathematics and visualizations of mathematical formulas, namely the formulas of fractals and chaos theory, we can see visualizations that embody and capture the nature of what we described just a few minutes ago about being a capillary at the end of a root system that's connected to this trunk. And if you know anything about fractals and fractal geometry, you will know that root systems of trees and branches of trees grow in fractal geometric patterns. And if you know anything about holograms, you know that if you take a hologram and cut it up With a pair of scissors, every piece of that hologram contains an image of the whole. And this is why these two analogies are used all the time in the New Age and in other spiritual circles to describe the nature of reality. Unfortunately, people take it too far and they decide, oh, well, there it is. That's it. That's the answer. And then they stop there because, of course, their rational mind wants an oversimplification and wants a silver bullet and a magic pill. And this is where intuition is so important. This is where our innermost doubting Thomas serves us. Our doubt serves us to say, let me go into meditation and verify that. Let me go and connect to the objective source of truth inside of me and validate the veracity of this hearsay, of these statements. Because until I do so, until I verify or validate through my own direct conscious experience, I will not know. I will only believe. And unfortunately, so much of the New Age and so much of contemporary spirituality is just more belief. It's just more blind faith. Many so-called seekers and light workers and this and that, they've found their New Age guru of choice, the one that tells them what they want to hear. And the validation that they were seeking is external validation. They wanted to receive validation that, oh, yeah, no, you're right. You're a light worker. You're special. You're magic. You're a god already. And there's no shortage of that. But you see, that's an exact reverse, 180 degrees opposite of what validation really means and what verification really means. To verify, veritas, truth. Veritas happens to be the root word of very, very as in extreme, a lot, really, right? That's why the word really is synonymous with very. Something is really good. Something is very good. Because very is veritas, and really, the root word is real. We're talking about objective truth. Where else can you find objective truth, if not the source of all truth? And the medium of truth is consciousness. It's not the mind. It's not the mind. The mind is a subjective medium. The mind is to truth as a photograph is to reality, or as a video is to reality, or a news story, or any other mediated expression, mediated representation of the truth. To put it another way, the mind is a screen that can receive projections, that can receive images. And so the mind represents that which has been projected onto it. But what is the source of the projection? And what's more, how does the representation alter subjectively the information which is being projected onto it? And how do we know when something projected onto the screen of our mind is coming from an objective source or a subjective source, a trusted source or a dubious source? How can we discern the difference? How do we know what's real and what's illusion? All of that depends upon the faculty of free, unconditioned consciousness. But the consciousness is a faculty like any other. It is a faculty which will become atrophied if not exercised, just as our muscles will become atrophied if we don't lift with them, or our cardiovascular health will become atrophied if we do not exercise and raise our heart rate in order to maintain our cardiovascular fitness. Our conscious fitness is no different. And so, how do we exercise consciousness? You might say to yourself, well, I'm conscious right now. I'm listening to this live stream. Are you? Well, many people think that they can get their exercise just by doing the day-to-day activities of their day. But there is something about practice that is unique. There are so many different modalities of physical exercise. But the point is that it's a practice. It's something that you set time aside for and you do it. And whatever you're doing there, it is extraordinary. There is something about the conditioning of the physical body, the practice of exercising the physical body, which is unique when you are doing it, including your focus and concentration on nothing else but working the physical body. That is your focus, or at least it should be. It's a practice. And so, likewise, our metaphysical bodies, our vital body, mental body, and astral body, our emotional body, and indeed our causal body and our Buddhic body, because we don't have to limit ourselves to the fourth and fifth dimension, but we go into the sixth dimension, where our causal body, the body of willpower, and our Buddhic body, that's the consciousness, and finally the Atmic body, which is our innermost. To be able to have a practice, very often we need a space that is devoted and dedicated to that practice. For many, this is their gymnasium, whether it's a home gym or a gym that they go to. But that space is recognized and understood by all who attend, that this is a place of practice, of work, of exercise. And while we are here, we are focused on doing this particular kind of exercise. And so even though many gyms have televisions and music and this and that and the other thing, in our experience, when we go to a gym, people are there to work. There's some casual chit chat or socializing or whatever, but generally speaking, the individuals in that gym are there with a purpose. And certainly when they're lifting, they're intent and focused on what they're doing. They know why they're there. They're all there for a singular purpose: to exercise the physical body, to give the body what it needs, what it craves, which is to be its best, to have its best performance, its best strength, its optimal expression, its optimal existence. As above, so below. Imagine, if you will, just try to reach out with your conscious imagination and visualize a world, specifically here in the West, if people put as much effort and emphasis into exercising their metaphysical bodies as they do taking care of and looking after and exercising their physical bodies. How different would our culture be? How different would the world be if people were as concerned about being good on the inside, being optimal, as they are about looking good on the outside and living optimally physically? Imagine if people put the same effort and emphasis on being optimal metaphysically. Can you even imagine it? A golden age, an enlightened humanity would emerge from that. Now, some of you may be thinking, yeah, but people meditate. People talk about meditation all the time. Ah, people talk about meditation all the time. In the same way, unfortunately, as people talk about nutrition and sports science and fitness and bodybuilding, and do you know how much misinformation and disinformation is out there? And how many misconceptions and misunderstandings there are? When it comes to optimizing the metaphysical bodies and exercising our consciousness and exercising our mental and emotional faculties under the banner of concentration and conscious willpower, we run into the same type of misinformation and disinformation